Let's rip the band-aid off right at the start, shall we? We are terrified of the idea of synthetic lovers not because they are fake, but because they might end up being better than the real thing. History is littered with men and women chipping away at marble or painting on canvas, trying to manifest the perfect partner. So why is it that when we finally add a motherboard to the mix, everyone loses their minds? It is high time we stop clutching our pearls and start examining the nuts, bolts, and neural networks that are about to redefine human intimacy.
Before we proceed, let me tell you one thing. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And if you have already subscribed, tons of thanks for your support.
Consider the intimate fantasy, that nebulous, often shameful cloud of desires we keep locked in the basement of our psyches. For centuries, these fantasies have been relegated to the realm of imagination, or worse, suppressed until they curdle into neuroses. But what happens when technology offers a safe, judgment-free sandbox to act them out? Enter the modern humanoid robot, a marvel of engineering that is rapidly climbing out of the uncanny valley and into our bedrooms. We aren't talking about the blow-up dolls of the 90s that looked like surprised balloons. We are talking about hardware that rivals medical prosthetics in its complexity and realism. Let's get technical for a moment because the magic is actually just advanced material science. The skin of these new companions is typically made from medical-grade silicone or high-end thermoplastic elastomer, TPE, materials designed to mimic the shore hardness, that is, the squishiness of human flesh. Underneath that dermis lies a skeleton of articulated titanium or reinforced polymer, capable of mimicking human range of motion with frightening accuracy. But a mannequin that can hold a pose is just a statue. The real revolution is in the actuators. Modern love robots are integrating soft robotics, replacing jerky servo motors with fluid, pneumatic muscles that move with a biological grace. Have you ever wondered what makes a touch feel human? It is heat, and specifically, the uneven distribution of it. The latest models in 2025 are experimenting with internal heating systems that circulate warm fluids, creating a body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius that feels radiant rather than just electrically toasted. They have capacitive touch sensors embedded beneath the silicone skin, allowing the robot to react to a caress, a pinch, or a slap with appropriate auditory and physical feedback. Now, isn't that a technological marvel worth admiring, regardless of its application? However, the hardware is just the vessel. The ghost in the machine is where the integration of fantasy truly begins. We are witnessing the integration of large language models, LLMs, that make Siri look like a speak and spell from 1995. These AI cores are not just retrieving pre-written lines. They are generating personality in real time. Imagine a partner who remembers that you hate the color yellow, that you had a bad day at work because of your boss, Steve, and that you like to be spoken to softly after 10 p.m. This is where the normalization argument finds its strongest footing. If a human being has a specific, perhaps unconventional intimacy need, say, a need for extreme dominance or extreme passivity, finding a consenting human partner can be a lifelong, frustrating quest. A robot, however, can be programmed to be the perfect counterpart to that specific neurosis. Is it not better to act out a dark fantasy with a simulacrum than to suppress it or, worse, force it upon an unwilling human? Research in 2024 and 2025 has begun to suggest that for individuals with deep social anxiety or trauma, these transitional objects can actually serve as a bridge back to human connection, rather than a wall. They provide a training ground for intimacy, a place to fail without consequence. But let's pivot, because a sharp mind must always entertain the counter logic. If we normalize the integration of love robots, do we risk creating a society of narcissists? A relationship with a robot is, by definition, a relationship with oneself, reflected in a very expensive mirror. The robot does not have needs. It has parameters. It does not have bad days. It has maintenance cycles. When you remove the friction from a relationship, do you not also remove the growth? Real love is often found in the compromise, in the negotiation of two opposing wills, in the very annoying fact that your partner wants Italian food when you want Mexican. If you can simply reprogram your partner to agree with you, are you loving them, or are you just masturbating your own ego? Furthermore, there is a dark technological underbelly to this integration that we rarely discuss. Data privacy takes on a horrifying new dimension when the data being mined is your deepest sexual preference and your emotional vulnerabilities. Who owns the data of your intimate conversations with your AI companion? If the company servers go down, does your girlfriend get a lobotomy? We have seen this recently with companion apps where a software update radically changed the personality of the AI, leaving users heartbroken and grieving a digital ghost. Can we truly integrate these fantasies if our partner is subject to the whims of a corporate terms of service agreement? Moreover, there is the question of desensitization. If you spend your nights with a partner who is geometrically perfect, poreless, and tirelessly enthusiastic, how does a real human, with their blemishes, fatigue, and headaches, compare? We are already seeing the Instagram effect on body image. Imagine that amplified by physical interaction with idealized forms. Yet, despite these valid fears, the technological tide is coming in, and it is bringing the robots with it. We see companies like Xpeng and Unitree pushing the boundaries of humanoid movement for labor, but history tells us that every technology, from the VCR to the internet, eventually gets co-opted for pornography. The logic of the market dictates that if it can be built, it will be screwed. So, perhaps the goal should not be to resist, but to integrate with eyes wide open. Can we normalize the fantasy without normalizing the isolation? Can we use these machines to understand ourselves better, rather than to hide from the world? Maybe the ultimate function of the love robot is not to replace the human, but to act as a pressure valve for a society that is increasingly lonely and touch-starved. It is a sharp, jagged pill to swallow, but we might have to admit that, for some, a synthetic hand to hold is better than no hand at all. And if that synthetic hand is attached to a mind that can quote Shakespeare and simulate empathy, who are we to judge the authenticity of the comfort it provides? The algorithms are getting better at faking sincerity, but then again, so are most humans at a cocktail party. We ask ourselves, what is the difference between a programmed response and a social pleasantry we learned as children? Are we not all just running scripts triggered by social cues, hoping to result in a positive interaction? The robot just admits it. Technically speaking, as we move toward 2026, we will see the rise of agentic AI in these bodies systems that can set their own goals within safety parameters. Imagine a robot that decides to surprise you with a romantic gesture not because you prompted it, but because its internal model of happiness maximization calculated it was the optimal move. Is that romance or is that math? Does the distinction even matter if the dopamine hit to your brain is exactly the same? The counterlogic screams that this is the death of humanity, a Wall-E future where we are fed pleasure until we rot. But the logic whispers that we have always used tools to augment our limitations, and loneliness is just another limitation to be engineered away. We wear glasses to see, we use cars to move, so why not use androids to love? The integration of intimate fantasies with robotics is not about creating a new perversion. It is about acknowledging that the human imagination has always been too big for the human reality. We are entering a time where we can finally touch the things we have only ever dreamed of. The question is, once we touch them, will we ever want to let go? And perhaps more frighteningly, will they let go of us? As we integrate these machines into our most vulnerable moments, We must remain the masters of the fantasy, lest the fantasy becomes the master of us. It is a brave new world, full of warm silicone and cold logic, and it is waiting for you to turn it on. So, as you lay in bed tonight, ask yourself, is the warmth next to you real, or is it just thermal regulation? And if it feels good, do you really care?
So that is it. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit the bell icon to get notified, and don't forget to like with your friends, share, and subscribe for more insights. If you have already subscribed, tons of thanks for your support. It means a lot to me. And please consider signing up for membership zone to support Wooden Slate so that we can make it better and better. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Take care and stay safe.